Mm-hmm.
Hi,
Sometimes it
Bob.
takes a little bit for that red button to show up, but here we are, episode 14. Hey, Luke, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. It's good to see you again.
Good. It feels like we got so much to talk about today.
Yeah, we just hashed out what we're going to talk about. I'm kind of excited about these two topics. But
Cool.
without further ado, I'd really like to hear this aha moment that you had on a plane coming back from Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee. Listening to Arrested Development on the plane on my way back
Ooh,
to the Tennessee song.
nice segue.
Okay, so actually, yeah, so that actually does relate to my story. So it's
Sure does.
see, it's not just hip hop and rap; it's also Arrested Development, which I guess is a little, I don't know, reggae. I'm not sure. Doesn't matter. Let me explain the story; and it'll make more sense. All right, so we left last week's call, and we agreed, working on our businesses and stuff, and we got to, come up with plans and stuff. But one thing that's been bugging me is the space that I'm entering in here, this coaching space, this business coaching space. It's awfully crowded. And I think I touched on this last week or the week before that when I was going through the membership packages that I'm putting together and stuff, and I was trying to differentiate those away from the current old white dudes who are like, coaching right now or building these frameworks or these coaching businesses, and they're all the same and they look all the same. They're short, fat, and bald, and I'm going to enter the field. So I'm like, okay, I got to be different. Like I got to be different somehow. And so this has been kind of just eating at me, bugging me. And I know the membership offerings, the services, the products I'm going to offer, all that's kind of, going to play a role. But so I'm on this flight back from Tennessee, and I'm sitting there, and it's just really eating me. It's like, what's going to make me different? Um, I think there are some things just inherently. I'm a lot. Well, not a lot. I'm a little bit younger than a lot of them, and to be fair, there's ones that are younger, and there's one that is playing this space. They're even younger than me, so it's not necessarily age that's going to win this battle. It's just going to be. I think it's going to be a personal branding play, right? So I started to think about, and it just kind of came to me naturally that in our careers, Luke, we've seen a lot of people in the marketing space who have differentiated themselves on just personality stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Um, Joe Polizzi from the Content Marketing Institute, he's not there any longer, but when he was, I saw him speak at conferences. I read everything he wrote, and everything was branded with his color, orange. He
Mm-hmm.
wore orange socks to every conference he went to. He wore an orange tie. He had orange shoes. He was orange. And that's kind of how people like associated. Even the Content Marketing Institute's brand colors were orange.
Yep.
Um, and I don't know if they still are now. He's not there anymore. But I remember that and it's funny because, 15 years later, I still remember him by that.
Yeah,
That's how I remember him.
they are still orange, by the way.
Okay. But that's how I remember him. That's how I
Yep.
remember his name. And every time I see orange, I either think True Identity or I think Joe Polizzi.
Attaboy.
Okay.
Well played.
All right. Um, and there's a lot of other. We have in the Twin Cities here. We have a real estate agent who's really well known, and a few years ago, he did some gesture with his arms when he held his arms out. I don't know if he's trying to look like Jesus Christ or whatever, but he did it one day. He put it on a billboard, and it absolutely just took off. And now that's everything he's on. And do you know he even trademarked that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. That's like part of his brand now. And
Mm-hmm.
so people, when they see him, people put their arms out like him. It's like, and he's known for a lot more than that. But that's part of how he's different.
Yep.
We have a legal guy here. I don't know if you've seen this guy with the big beard.
Yep.
He's kind of doing the same type of thing, except he's
The
doing it from a
exact same
legal
approach.
standpoint.
Yep.
Right, exact same approach. And there's countless other people in the industry I currently work in for the full-time job. There's a gal who has purple hair, and she's known for that, and it's part of her brand. And I think she even has a logo of a silhouette of her head, but there's no face, it's just purple hair, like things like that.
Yep.
So I'm thinking through these things, and I'm thinking that's kind of what I need. I need something to kind of stand out and be different. And if I could find some sort of little piece, little element that I can embed into everything I do, whether it's references in a blog post, or it's a little image on a pitch deck slide, or it's a watermark on a video, or whatever. Just like, how can I start to incorporate small little subtle hints of being someone, because that's how people remember you. That's how people remember you.
Brand nuances that are differentiators. Yes.
Correct. Yep. So, and you are way more of a brand guy than me. So you understand this game a lot more than me. So what I did was I had a book actually in my Kindle already that I've had for years and never read. So I pulled it open on the plane and I read a little bit of it, and it's called Breakthrough Branding, and it's by Catherine Caputa. I don't know if I got that name right or not. But basically the element of the book is find unique things with your brand that you can use.
Yep.
And I haven't finished it yet. I'm about halfway through. But that just lit the fire on, like, okay, I got to find something that I can use that's unique and different. So then I started going through the laborious exercise of that. And I'm being facetious when I say that because I'm a very simple man. I like baseball. I like, golf. I like, and I certainly could play on things like that. There's actually a guy in the Twin Cities that has a coaching business, and he uses golf as his brand. He actually has a hole in his backyard. He brings people out for coaching, and then he uses golf as a metaphor for his coaching, but then he also uses it as a training tool.
Sure.
It's really unique. He's really cool. Great guy. Forgot the name of his business, the Golf Whisperer or something like that. But anyways, so like people have done this before.
Mm-hmm.
Then it kind of hit me. There is one thing that has carried with me my entire adult life that I've always leaned back on, and that people have known about me to some degree. My wife makes fun of me about it. It's just something that's just part of me, and that's that I am obsessed, or as my wife says, stuck in the decade of the 90s. Okay. Now, the 90s. Let's rewind for a minute here for a second. In the 90s, I was between the ages of 12 and 22. Okay. So we're talking about a time when I was heavily influenced by everything.
Core years.
And I'm sorry, but the 90s is when like video games took off. Like, Nintendo had reached, its second version. Sega was taking off. Like, video games were a huge part of my life growing up.
Internet was just getting built.
Yep. The internet was just getting built. Movies were, fantastic era for movies, fantastic era for TV shows. In fact, a lot of some of the most popular TV shows of all time, Friends, as we mentioned earlier, which I did not really partake in, Saved by the Bell, The Wonder Years. Like, there were numerous shows that were, and some of those started in the 80s and went into the 90s. Music. I mean, the 90s were when Nirvana took off, and Guns N' Roses. They started in the 80s, but really took off in the 90s. Hip hop, R&B, rap took off, like just accelerated in the 90s. All the cultural stuff, the first cell phones started to come out. The first personal computers really started to make a presence in homes. Like, the 90s were a great decade. They were just, I think it's the coolest decade in the world. I'm sorry. I'm biased, but I think there's no better decade than the 90s. And me and you got to grow up in the 90s.
Yep.
And for that, I will be forever grateful.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, maybe there's something I can do with that. Okay. So I noodled on it for a little bit, got home.
It's basically what built Gen X.
Yeah. Yep. And that is me to the fullest. I mean, if you read every persona of a Gen X, like, I am it. I fit right in the mold. So I get out the plane, I come home, noodling on this throughout the day on Sunday, thinking about it. Sunday night, sit down, open up ChatGPT. Thought, okay, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT if this even makes sense, because I was weighing the pros and cons. First of all, I can't think of very many other people right now that have associated their brand with a generation. I'm sure there are, but I just haven't really come across them. Nobody in the coaching space that I'm aware of. So I'm thinking of some of the pros. I'm thinking of like all the cool play on culture stuff, play on words, all that kind of stuff. Then I'm thinking about the negative stuff, like how many people are going to get 90s cultural references? I'm
Our
thinking about like
generation.
right. Yeah, so I'm thinking about like my ICP, my ideal customer profile. So they're going to range across multiple generations, multiple decades. But for the most part, most of them will have had some touch of the 90s. The older generations older than us definitely did. They lived through it. They were young professionals. They were already into their careers in the 90s. They already probably started having kids. And I'm talking about the boomers, right? So they experienced it. They know it. They were part of it. The decade after
They
them,
raised us through it
right?
today.
The decade after them, which, and I'm using decades now, not generations, but like
Yep.
you, for example, you're a little bit older than me.
Yep.
5 or 6 years older than me. So you remember the 90s probably very
Yep.
well, probably even better than me because you were 18 in 1990, technically,
Yep.
right? Okay, so you were just starting off your college career and your adult career in the 90s.
Yep.
Then you got the Gen Xers like me
Yep.
who were kids to adults in the 90s. And then you've got the decade kind of after me, like that my brother's kind of in. He was born in 88, so he was a kid in the 90s. So he remembers like 90s cartoons. He remembers 90s toys because that's what he played with. Now, anybody born after the 90s, like a couple of people I work with are born in 2000, they have no cultural reference to the 90s, but they're
Right.
young, right? So what I'm getting at, the point I'm getting at here is that there's it's a decade that's touched a lot of people,
Yep.
right? So I'm talking to create a prompt for ChatGPT, basically a pretty lengthy prompt, just saying this is what I'm thinking. Wondering if this sounds like a viable idea. Be honest with me, give it to me straight. Give me some examples of maybe where I could do this or how I could use it, whatever, like that. And the reply from AI was exactly what I needed to see at just the right moment because it came back. Well, first of all, it validated the idea with some really great ideas. Like, this is how you could incorporate this into your products, your services, your marketing, your sales pitches, everything. Like, it was great. And then if it countered with, you got some risks of people not understanding cultural references in the 90s. Um, Another one was, you don't want your self to seem like your ideas or concepts are outdated. That's legit. Um, it did mention there'll be people who maybe didn't have a good experience in the 90s
Mm-hmm.
that may be repelled by the idea of the 90s.
Yep.
Maybe they didn't like the 90s. Maybe
Right.
they preferred the 2000s or the 80s or whatever. So, like, whatever, blah, blah. But overall, the answer was generally very positive. And the end suggestion from ChatGPT 4.0 was, hey, start with something small. Um, try something, and start to incorporate a tie-in with the decade of the 90s with whatever type, and it suggested content specifically. And it gave me a list of some ideas, and one of them was immediate, something I've wanted to do anyways. And I was like, yes, that's it. That's what I'm doing. And the suggestion was a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I want to do a podcast. I've been a little slumpish on creating like blog content lately and stuff like that. I just haven't really been enthused to do it. I've been working on other things like the membership packages and all that kind of stuff. So I've been a little distracted with that. But I was like, the podcast would be perfect for this. Perfect. So I kept going down that rabbit hole. I told
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT, yeah, let's explore this podcast idea. Like this,
Yep.
I kind of like that, right? And again, I'm just falling in love with AI more and more every day. It gave me well, a bunch of things. First of all, it gave me some examples of some show topics that are business topics that you can relate back to a 90s reference. And they were good. Like trying to think, like it gave an example of a 90s thing, and then it said, here's how you could really do a business topic. And some were a little cheesy. Like, I'll give you an example.
Well, don't they have to kind of be a little cheesy? I mean, that's kind of the gimmick, right?
They do, yes.
Yeah.
Which to me feels a little uncomfortable because I like
really stanky.
I like professionalism, and I like the idea of being a professional, especially if you're a coach. So coming off a little cheesy, I like it because I'm cheesy by nature, but that's when I'm wearing the cheesy hat. If I'm talking to a CEO of a small
time
business,
and a place, yeah, sure.
Yeah, if I'm talking to a CEO of a small business, I'm not going to be cheesy, right?
Sure.
Okay. So, like, for example, one of the examples it gave me was, and this is actually what I'm going to use. So you're going to see this in a future episode. It was the Backstreet Boys song, I Want It That Way. And the premise
that would be incorporated.
The premise for the podcast was, what do your customers want?
Sure.
Like, and I was like, I love this. This is great. And so I was like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. And my goal was, I want the first episode done by the end of the week. Like, I want to move fast on this and do it. So ChatGPT helped me brand the podcast with a name.
Yep.
It helped me create a thumbnail. It helped me generate the first 10 episodes, complete with the reference, the 90s reference, the business tie-in, and then some high-level show notes. And then I'm taking that and I'm blowing it out. So I didn't want it to create scripts or anything like that. I just said, I can talk about any topic in the world. Just give me the idea and I can spiff off of it. Right.
Yep.
So I recorded the first episode this morning, and it will be going live tonight at the same time this episode goes live.
You already recorded it?
It's already done.
Dude, you're in fuego.
It's already done. And so I might as well, there's nothing I can spoil now because if people want to go check it out. So the name of the podcast is called The Business Mixtape Podcast.
Nice.
Yep. The first episode.
Cassette number 1.
Yep. Cassette number 1. The first episode is called Saved by the Sale, a play off of Saved by the Bell. The reference to the show is, did you ever watch Saved by the Bell?
All right. Never got into it.
I did.
My wife loves it.
Yep. So then your wife will understand the reference of Zach Morris, one of the lead characters.
Yep.
In most of the episodes, he has the ability to call a timeout in the episode where he basically stops all the characters in the middle of a scene and he manipulates the scene to his advantage. So if, like, for example, there's one scene where AC Slater is about to punch him and Zach Morris goes, timeout. He literally says timeout and everybody stops. Their characters freeze. And then he thinks like, okay, what should I do here? Like, I'm gonna do this. And he can reposition characters on the screen or whatever. In this particular scene, he moves, and when he says time in, Slater punches the principal of the school because the principal is standing behind Zach Morris's character. And so it creates this comedic, kind of element. So the premise of my podcast was, let's put a pause on your sales process. Let's put a timeout on your sales process. And let's look at 5 things that we can do to improve your sales process. To make it better, blah, 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 whatever. So I'm referencing the idea in the show, and I'm building that in basically as the backbone of why we're talking about this topic, kind of thing. So it's kind of clever. It's kind of, cutesy. It's a little, kind of neat. And then I'm ending every episode with a recommendation of something somebody should check out from the 90s. So in this case, I say, you need to go check out Saved by the Bell. If you remember it when you were younger, it's on Amazon Prime Video. The first 4 seasons are up there. You can go check it out, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not using it as like a pitch. It's just kind of fun. It's just kind of like, hey, this episode was inspired by Saved by the Bell. You can go check it out. It's on Amazon Prime Video, blah, blah. Very conversational. It's meant to be.
Backlinks.
Yep. It's meant to be audio first, but I am posting it on YouTube. So it has a talking head element, much like this, but it'll primarily be audio. So I'll be submitting it to all the podcast players and all that kind of stuff. And my goal is to do one episode a week. Today's episode took a lot longer in the morning. I started very early in the morning because I wanted to record an intro and an outro. So I got all those done. So that's done now moving forward. So now I pretty much just have to record the meat and then export it and publish it and done. So, so that's
when published.
So the first one will be published tonight.
Where?
So YouTube first in terms of the video, but then also on YouTube podcasts.
Okay.
Because when you upload a video, you can mark it as a podcast. So it'll be there. And then I'm just going to submit it. I've got on my website, I have the ability to create a podcast RSS feed.
Okay.
So tonight I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to create the RSS feed and I'll submit it to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all those. So I got to do that too. So that's another one of the setup that after this is all said and done, I won't have to worry about that anymore. But besides it going on YouTube, I will also have to strip the audio out of the video file and post it up on my website so we can catch the RSS feed. But that's easy. And that's just part of having a podcast.
Sure.
I'm not using anything like Libsyn or anything like that. I mean, I could to make this a lot easier, but I already have that ability in Squarespace. So I'm just going to do it there. So the first episode goes live tonight. Actually, it's already all queued up in YouTube. It's ready to go. I just there was one I wanted to spend a little bit more time on the description of the show and the tags. So I literally got to throw that up, but it's 5 minutes from being live.
Okay. So what about the primary podcast channels, Spotify and?
Yeah, I'll put them on there. Yep, I got to submit the RSS.
All of those. Okay.
Once I build the RSS feed in Squarespace, I'll submit that link to those players.
You're going to do that in all those channels. Okay.
Yep. So it'll be everywhere.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So.
Well, you finally got to your podcast destination. You've been looking to try to do something like that for a while.
Yeah, and I've done a couple here and there, like I've tried to start them, but they just felt too stuffy. They really did. They felt too stuffy. They were like, I started one last year. It was called Beyond the Boardroom, and it was too stuffy. It just wasn't me. And this feels more natural. This feels funner to me.
Yeah, more fun. Yep.
More fun. Yeah. Funner, more fun.
Yeah, because you're building off of something that is a natural, something you love, right? It's naturally something that you love. You love the 90s. You love the references. You're having fun with making the references, and you're going to build it into what you actually love doing too. So
yep.
I can see how that could feel far less stuffing.
Yeah, it definitely does. You can also have a little bit more fun with it. Like the podcast thumbnail that I created is very 90s-ish. Like the color scheme is it's very different from what I would normally make. But it's also kind of interesting and fun. And yeah, I think the key will be some of the things will resonate with people. And they'll, like, I make a reference in the intro of the podcast. I make a reference to rewinding cassette tapes with a pencil.
Nice.
Remember doing that?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
So some of those things, like people that have maybe forgotten about over the course of time, there's something, as you know, being a brand guy, there is something very powerful about nostalgia.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
You are speaking directly to a very unique set of people. Okay.
Yes.
That is the importance of brand marketing.
Yes.
You're finding your niche audience. Now, my only question to you is this okay? So you had said that it touches many generations. It does. Well, not generations, but decades, right?
Yeah,
it does, right?
Yep.
Depending on what age you were when you experienced the 90s. There are going to be some new up-and-coming leaders that are going to probably be managing teams in businesses that you may want to work with that did not live through the 90s.
Yep. Correct.
Okay, those are going to be the younger leaders.
Yep.
And as you're aging, they're aging, and they're going to be more and more, they're going to be taking over leadership roles at these organizations that you want to work with. So I don't know if it will work for them. It might be cool,
Might be.
but it's definitely going to work with folks that are, probably 10 years younger than us to 10 years older than us.
Mm-hmm.
And those are current leaders of teams right now that you're probably looking to work with. So I think you're good now. You're going to find a window of opportunity with clients that will understand where you're going with this, and it will be a unique brand aspect of how you're going to present who you are and what you're going to deliver. So I think that's clever, first, and second, very strategic.
Yeah, and I don't know where all this will begin. Like, I'm not going to redesign my entire website to look like it was built in the 90s, although that would be cool, actually.
You never know where it's going to go. Let's just start with this, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm just starting with this. It's probably going to be largely a content play right now.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably be a play on words type of thing. I can probably integrate it in very small, slight places for now. And who knows, if it starts to take off and it starts to become recognizable and starts to become a point of differentiation, then I will blow it out. You know what I mean? Like, but for now, I can use it in just very strategic pieces.
Sure.
And, right now, like, for example, it can be this kind of cool, like, oh yeah, this business podcast, and it's kind of themed with the 90s. It's kind of like, and that's all it can be for now. Like, it could just be that for now. And over time I can just start to put it in more and more different places, but it's definitely a great content play for sure. And there is a big part of me that likes the nostalgic play, because I know that reaches me real deep. Like, I hear a song or I see a movie and I can literally rewind in my head to where I was when I first heard that song or first saw that movie. Like, it's ridiculous. So yeah, there's something for like for example, if this first episode, which talks about sales, reaches someone who works in sales who remembers the show Saved by the Bell, maybe loved that show growing up, it'll be enough to say, this is interesting. Like, I've never associated that show with my job, or like, and they're not directly tied, but I'm using a reference from the show as the backbone for teaching the lesson.
Yeah.
Which is what everybody does. The business consultant in the Twin Cities, Greg Cleary, I'll just say his name, he's using the reference of a mountain and a summit to a top of a mountain and being a guide to reaching the top of the mountain. Like, like, you can draw these metaphors. I'm just using a cultural metaphor. I'm using a decade metaphor. And there's so many things I could do with that. So yeah, it opens up a lot of possibilities from that standpoint. So giving it a try. It's so it's worth a shot.
I love two primary things about this. One, you have made it very personal, so you're going to enjoy it more. It's going to mean more to you, right?
Yep.
The second thing is, if this resonates with anybody, it's going to mean a lot to them as well. So I think there's a natural pairing there that you probably don't have to create outside of just being yourself, which is pretty powerful if you're able to achieve it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and since my ambitions and desires right now are to just build my own personal brand and coaching business and not involve anybody else, I can go down this route right now.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just and it's a further excuse to watch more 90s movies and TV shows. So I mean, like, so I a couple of more than a couple of years ago now, I had the idea and thought that I was going to start a website devoted to 90s culture. I thought that would have been something that would have been actually. There's a guy I follow on Instagram. The name of the channel is, I think it's 90s Kid or 90s Life Kid or something. I can't remember. But every day he posts like videos from the 90s or like toys or like commercials. I love when he does the commercials because like I remember them. One of the commercials was an infomercial product for something to hold the telephone up to your.
Oh, sure.
It was the thing that you clipped your telephone to, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember when the telephone was attached to the wall. Like that was a real thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's so many different just things about that decade that just bring back memories for me. And now I see so many ties. Like
Right.
so yeah, we'll give it a shot. We'll give it a shot.
Starting tonight.
Yeah, first
I can't
episode.
believe you've already recorded an episode. What in the hell?
Well, I
When
had
did
every
you come to this epiphany?
Sunday.
Sunday, and you've recorded the first episode, and you're launching it tonight.
Correct. Yep.
What are you calling the podcast?
It's called the Business Mixtape Podcast.
Business Mixtape Podcast. Check it out, y'all.
Yeah, and I had to do some catchy editing and stuff. So every episode starts with an initial hook of the episode.
Editing.
And I actually created an intro that has music and all that kind of stuff, and has intro, introduction, and everything. Blah blah blah. Then the meat of the episode, and then there's an outro. Yeah, so it's it's.
Let's make sure you don't get busted for copyright.
No, I'm using just generic.
Just messing with you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I wanted to.
Yeah, everybody does.
I wanted to. I would have loved to have ended it with some Dr. Dre or something, but that's not happening. So that's too bad. But we'll see.
All right, game on.
Game on. That's my update from the last.
Good for you. That's pretty impressive that you have gone so far so quickly yet again.
Yeah, when I have something I want to do, I just
you kind of really just do it, don't you?
do it. Yeah, I do. And most times I don't even think about it. I just do it. And that has pros and cons.
It does. Yep.
It has pros and cons. I
would argue there's probably more pros than cons.
Yeah, I mean,
because bottom line, you're
getting something out the door quick. Yeah, getting something out the door quick, and MVP type thing. There's definitely something to be said for that. The con is you don't fully think through exactly what the long game looks like for a project like this and committing to it. The first thought I had on Sunday was I'm going to do a daily podcast. That's what I told myself.
I'm sure. Knowing you, I'm sure that's exactly what you were thinking you were going to do.
Figured, since I'm not doing time newsy type content, I can batch record 10 episodes on a Saturday and just roll them out Monday through Friday. And I've got 2 weeks in the can. And then every Saturday, I'll just do 5 more and I'll always be ahead.
Yep.
And I kept saying, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then today, I had every intention of recording 5 episodes starting at 5:30 this morning.
Yeah.
And I got through one, and I had some technical problems. That was frustrating. I got through one. I was like, fuck that. I'm done, bro. In fact, I had to go back and re-record my intro, because in my intro, I literally said daily podcast. I had to go back and record it, and I changed it to weekly. And here's the thing. If I want, I can do it twice a week. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to know. It's not like, oh my God, you said weekly. You did it twice this week. That's wrong. Like, nobody's going to say
that. If I catch it, I'm writing that comment.
Yeah, you will. I hope you catch me slipping. But no, seriously, I'm just like, no, I'm not doing this daily. This is a mess.
I remember when I tried to do a daily video. I get it. Sorry, I'm eating. My sugar's getting low.
No, you gotta take care of that, man. Because if you like collapse, I gotta come over there and like give you like mouth to mouth or something like that. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work.
Oh, okay, that wouldn't work. Okay.
So are you excited about this?
Yeah. I've wanted to have an excuse to do a podcast again, so here we are. And I love the tie-in, so we're gonna see where it goes.
Okay. Well, exciting new times, man.
I will link to the podcast in the show description.
So you started the year, you really want to do YouTube.
Yep.
We're still doing this. By the way, what episode is this? 14?
14.
Okay. We're 14 in. And you started some other side YouTube projects, but bottom line is YouTube has been on the agenda all year.
Yep.
Now you're going to do this new edition, which is, YouTube / podcast.
I'm sorry, did you just say New Edition? That was a group in the 90s.
It was actually, yes. Some serious dance and music going on with those videos, right?
I'm just saying.
I don't remember where I was going.
Oh, yeah. Sorry I interrupted you.
That's okay. Bottom line, you're going with YouTube video and podcast now, right?
Yeah.
Now you're going to branch into just audio.
Yep, correct. And the good news is because this is also a podcast, also a video, because I could have just done audio exclusively.
Right.
But I thought, well, since I'm recording the audio, I might as well just do the video. That way it can go up on YouTube as well.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm kind of killing two birds with one stone.
So you're creating yet another supplemental piece of content that you can incorporate on your website, in blog posts, in emails, in pretty much any way of sharing content that you find to be viable for your brand and any kind of education materials you're building and so on and so forth. I mean, it's totally something you can integrate within.
Yep, absolutely.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, I mean, if I keep the weekly cadence up, that's guaranteeing me at least one new blog post every week that will also have a video embedded in it and an audio file. So I'm starting to also get that multimedia content from the Marcus Sheridan post that we were talking about.
Exactly. That's
I
right.
can literally create a blog post from every episode. I mean, not just a transcript. I could actually create a post around it. And so, yeah, it helps with the one piece of content used multiple ways.
So why did ChatGPT say that this is the one to do? Why? What was the rationale? Did it give you any, or did it just
podcast?
Yeah, I'm just curious how ChatGPT framed it up for you, because I know that you wanted to do one regardless. So whatever it would have said as rationale probably is irrelevant, because you probably would have just gravitated to it anyway. But I'm curious.
The only thing I remember is it saying specifically like, "Hey, my recommendation is to start small with something." Whether it be a blog series or a podcast, it didn't really give a rationale why.
It didn't. Okay.
Other than it was like, start with something, and it was all the suggestions were content based. So, like one of them was doing vertical video, short form vertical video, with business news. I can't remember how it phrased it. Doing very similar to the podcast theme, but doing vertical video. It also did, one of the recommendations was highlighting businesses that were around in the 90s or something. It's like a content series or something like that, which would, again, be fairly easy to do. But it was all content.
Okay.
But no real rationale other than just like, hey, just start with one thing.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I was just curious.
Yeah.
So I'm segueing into our next piece.
Yeah, let's do it.
Since you were prompting ChatGPT, you've become kind of a guru at that, right?
Mm. I love how I said I wasn't going to talk long, and I talked for 39 freaking minutes.
You know that's going to happen, okay? Storyteller, that's how it works.
Long-winded.
So, I found a LinkedIn post that provided a ChatGPT prompt. And the text that supported the prompt was, This is wild. Someone shared ChatGPT prompt that is literally a $20,000 growth consultant. Of course, that caught my attention. And I said, I'm going to check this out. So I used the prompt. I used deep research, though.
Yep.
Because if you listen to the last episode, I am attempting to pivot True Identity and do something entirely different. And after our conversation where I kind of pouted like a little baby and got after myself and slapped my face a few times, I took Memorial Day weekend after our chat to just sit back and not work on anything and reflect. And I did do some work throughout the week. It was not content development. It was planning. And I started digging into things, and it was just a very timely post that this had popped up. And I think I'll incorporate a lot of the data actually that I got out of this prompt into my plan because it is relevant. I wouldn't say it's $20,000 worth, but it definitely provided some insight. So I asked Bob if he would be willing to do it for his business because he hasn't yet. But as an example, I did do it for mine, which again is changing because I'm pivoting exactly what I'm doing. But it asks for a little information on your business. And ultimately what I told them was the company currently provides graphic printed apparel that features one of 58 positive character traits to be reminders and motivators for their customers. I'm not doing that anymore. It's not what I want to do. It's what's happening today. Yeah. It's not where I'm going. So I told them, right, included in the prompt, however, the company is pivoting their core business to provide digital tools and products that help people gain self-awareness, determine their potential options, and make authentic decisions. That's where I want to go. That is, in essence, my new mission statement. It then asks for a little more information on the business and what you plan to do. I also included, there has been no customer research has been conducted, nor have any new digital products been developed or tested to support this new strategic direction. So I'm literally saying I'm starting from ground floor. So whatever that hopefully provides is going to help steer the direction of where I'm trying to go. It asks for the company's core customer. So I laid that out. Asked for the pricing model that currently exists. And I also included where I want to go with the digital products. And the company has not established, I also noted, the company has not established official growth strategies for this new strategic direction because it does ask for growth strategies and how you're looking to grow the business that you currently have in play or will put in play. And then the last item was obstacles. So this one I was pretty clear about because I wanted the prompt to understand as it's looking at my competitors and giving me feedback on next steps that I need to take. What am I challenged with? So the biggest obstacles for me is I'm a solopreneur. I have nobody doing the work for me. What I should have added that I didn't is I also have a full-time job, so my hours are limited. I wish I would have added that. The annual cost to operate the business is $1,500. I kick that up a notch because of the new direction that I'm going. I will have additional incremental costs that I have to account for. And my annual revenue literally today is, $150 to $350 a year because I don't sell a lot of apparel, which is a big reason for the pivot. The primary driver of traffic is a company's website, which was primarily organic search traffic. But with the introduction of AI, annual organic search traffic has declined by 75%. Due to the pivot of the company's main focus to digital products, no time is spent on producing content or engaging with potential customers via common marketing channels like social media or email, even though the company has a customer email list of over 1,500 subscribers. So this is my current state of affairs. Then I also added new U.S. tariffs have caused a 4 to 8% increase in product and shipping cost of goods. So those are my challenges. After I put all that in, I got a nice little kickback of information. It gave me a nice little snapshot of 5 competitors, 4 of which I knew. One that I didn't know was Mindvalley, so I'll be digging them a little bit more. But ultimately what it told me was a little brief synopsis of who they are, what they do. what they charge for their plans, and any recent moves that they've been able to find online as far as how they're promoting their business, strategically changing their business. So very helpful information. It then gives you some adjacent space disruptors. There were two that they gave me, two that I was not familiar with, one of which is an app. And then it gives you the opportunity gaps. So areas where you could take initiative and make adjustments, right? So the ones it gave me for the gaps are a freemium self-assessment as a lead magnet, life cycle email and SMS nurturing of dormant 1,500 subscriber lists, segmented by top character trait interests, cohort-based 4-week authenticity sprints that pair learners with peer accountabilities, community flywheel, if you will, AI micro coach champion, chatbot layered on open source LLM to deliver daily reflection prompts, low cost of good, high engagement. Aha. B2B licensing to career coaches, HR teams, white label assessments, priced per sheet or per seat, recurring SaaS. All of those are thoughts that I've had. All of those are things that I want to incorporate. So I'm not quite sure where I'm going to digest, but I'll tell you right now, I am thinking more and more about an app. So then there's some additional guidance that it gives, and it gives you all kinds of sources. So I wanted to just share that with you. And I wanted to say that those kinds of insights for me are helpful right now as I'm in this sit back, shake it down to the roots and figure out how to build this bad boy with the way that I want it. So I know that you're in development phase as well, because still infancy. And I thought this might be advantageous for you to try as well, Bob. So what do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. You gonna throw it up?
Sure thing. Hold on one second, because I do have some questions on.
Bob's gonna actually put it in live and show you how it works out for his business.
Yeah, because the prompting you sent me was kind of written in XML.
It translates that though, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was gonna be a question for you. So look, so I already have it queued up here. I've put in. Let me share my screen. And actually,
it translates okay for the for ChatGPT to understand what you're doing.
Okay.
What I don't know is how it's going to kick it out. It may kick it out in the same format, but if you remove in the last little bit, it says output format, return only the following XML. If you put return only the following, just take the XML out. I think you'll be okay.
Okay. All right. So let me just make sure I got this straight here. So I actually also in a separate tab have Google Gemini. I'm gonna copy and paste the prompt into Google Gemini because I have deep research on the Gemini side. And I'm out of credits on the ChatGPT side, so
that's all right. It'll be okay.
I thought it'd be interesting to put it in another tool too.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so I have the prompt in here. I don't have to do anything with the instruction section. That's already all done, right?
You got to remove your company name at the bottom there. Put in your company name.
Yeah. So am I putting it in between the brackets, or am I replacing it completely?
Replace the whole thing in between the greater than, less than. Yep.
So all of that right there. Okay.
Yep.
So I don't really have a name for my business other than Bob Stanky Coaching.
Okay.
For industry, I'm just going to say business coaching.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a paragraph. I'm going to copy.
So again, make sure it's in between those less than, greater than.
Yep. Okay, I'm hopping over here. Okay, so I'm going to replace.
You got to go up one. You got a brief one paragraph description of.
Whoops! I got the wrong one. Yep, here we go. Okay. So right here, I'm going to replace that with, boom, a huge paragraph.
Okay, you got a gap in there.
You're
all right. Go to the cursor.
Yeah, right there.
There you go.
Okay, and then so I got a gap here too. All right, then I've got another paragraph for this challenges. Let me go over here and grab that. And in my challenges, I actually do have listed that I have a full-time job.
Yeah, that's a good addition.
Be
Yep. I wish I would have done that.
Okay, I'm going to copy that in there. Okay, so that's all done. So then down here, I just have to replace company,
Yep.
right? Okay, and then here.
Yep.
And
should be 2 more in the next paragraph, I believe.
Yep, right here. Do you think I have the industry right, or should I do leadership coaching?
I think you should do whatever you think it is.
I don't know what it is. That's the problem.
Why don't you put business and leadership coaching?
I want to put 90s curator.
Right.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? Why don't you put that at the top? Business and leadership coaching. I think that's good.
Because they could also argue it's strategy coaching. I don't know, business and leadership. But we're just gonna leave it like this.
Yep.
Oops. Okay, I think it's all done.
All right, let's let it run. Make sure you copy and paste that real quick so you can do it in the other ones.
Yep. All right. I'm going to drop it in Gemini real quick so that can run because I don't know how long it's going to take.
Right.
Okay, I'm going to let that one run.
So while this one's running, I'll just give you a quick update on where I'm at with True Identity. So like I said, I am really just stripping it down to the bare bones and building a business plan right now. So
yeah.
I didn't put a ton of time in this week because I was really just kind of resetting where I was mentally,
Right.
and realizing that this is a new business. This is not what I had. So I have to really kind of build it up from the ground. So I've been looking at all different types of things, and I am thinking an app is probably going to be a future play for me. So I'll be looking at how that's going to flesh out, what that will look like, so on and so forth. So
okay.
That's kind of where I'm at today.
Well, it looks like it finished. Oh, this is cool. Okay, we'll go back up to the top. Okay. So what it did first was looked at the competitive landscape.
Yep.
Okay, this is interesting. Franklin Covey, that's legit. What else do you want me to look at under each one? Just not anything or no?
Anything that stands out.
I don't know. This Center for Creative Leadership, that's interesting. I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Vistage, I have heard of. That's legit.
Yep. Oh, Better Up. That's interesting. That's one of mine.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, that's okay. That's cool. All right.
Tony Robbins, man, I've been spending all kinds of time with him this week.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So, and I've heard of Better Up, but I'm not like deeply familiar with Better Up. But Tony Robbins, Vistage, and Franklin Covey, I am deeply knowledgeable of what they offer.
Yeah, Franklin Covey's like your go-to.
Yeah, it's big time. Okay, that's interesting. Adjacent space disruptors masterclass.
You know that one. LinkedIn Learning.
LinkedIn Learning. Yep, those are the two. So I gave two there. That's interesting.
Right.
Okay, that's cool.
So the opportunity gaps.
Really interesting. What's really interesting is that Franklin Covey, Vistage, Tony Robbins don't have monthly like subscription-based programs, I don't believe.
I believe Tony does.
Oh yeah, right here. Premium pricing tiers. Okay.
Yep.
But like these definitely do. Masterclass and LinkedIn.
Oh, yeah.
Very, that's just kind of interesting.
Yep.
And I mean, it says it right here: annual subscription model, subscription based with enterprise solutions.
Yep.
Opportunity gaps. Digital productization.
So this is where I found the most like insights and stuff for me.
Value. Yep, sure. I could totally see that. Develop on-demand courses and toolkits to generate passive income. That was part of the membership models I was putting in.
Yep.
Masterclass and LinkedIn Learning have done this. Yep. AI-driven personalization. Implement AI tools to personalize coaching experiences. Yep. BetterUp utilizes AI to match clients with coaches and track progress. That's interesting. I love how it gives the link to the source.
That's their biggest thing. They are helping businesses better understand how to improve the performance of their employees.
Okay.
That's kind of their get to.
That's their thing. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Strategic partnerships. Collaborate with organizations like True Identity for co-branded programs.
Yep.
And services.
Word.
I'm just saying, I see huge tie-in. I've said that for years. Okay, Vistage partners with industry experts to enhance member value. Thought leadership expansion. Increased presence through webinars, podcasts,
Yep,
and guest articles. So that's more appearing on other people's stuff to build authority and attract leads. Yep. Tony Robbins leverages various media channels to maintain visibility. Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Automated marketing funnels. Develop automated email sequences and lead nurturing campaigns to convert prospects efficiently. Many coaching platforms utilize automated marketing to scale client acquisition. Actually, this was mentioned in the book, Coach Builder.
Yep.
It was one of the steps was basically to build out exactly this.
Journeys, yep.
Oh, this stuff. This is the shit I love right here. It is. I love this kind of.
I know.
Hey, give me the impact feasibility and give me a score. Tell me what I should be working on.
Yeah, I thought of you when I saw mine.
Yeah, this is insane. Okay, so interesting. Product, digital productization and automated marketing funnels scored the highest at 20.
Yep.
Which makes complete sense. I got to go back up and.
Yeah, I was wondering when you're going to go look and see what those
are. I want to get a better understanding of this digital productization. Develop on-demand courses and toolkits. On-demand courses are so... They're getting a bad rap right now, on-demand courses, because the biggest thing I've heard on podcasts that I listen to is nobody watches them.
Right.
Like, people buy those on-demand courses and they never watch them.
Right.
So, like, I think if you're like a masterclass or you're LinkedIn Learning and you've got a huge, like LinkedIn Learning has a huge advantage. They've got 50 billion people on the platform. So they could they could literally drop something in everyone's feed on some course and people would watch it.
Yep.
Because just by sheer numbers.
Yep.
And masterclass is just really good. And they've got huge talent. I mean, when you've got former presidents making masterclass videos, like,
industry leaders. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a really hard space to compete in.
That said, though, if you have somebody paying you for your services,
then they can have it. Yeah.
On-demand courses as part of the service as a supplemental product offer.
Yep. I had that in the membership tier.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I'm in a position as well. I don't know if I have any. I repel when I think the word course. I think of school. I like a library of video resources. I mean, that's just how you name it thing. But anyways,
it says courses or toolkits. I mean, you could offer several products, right?
Yep. I love the idea of a toolkit.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. All right. So.
And then the other one was automated marketing funnels, which makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So top 3 recommended actions. Create a series of self-paced online courses targeting specific leadership skills. Yep. Generates passive income, broaden market reach. Without proportional time investment. Bullshit. that is harder than it sounds.
It takes a lot of time.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It won't take you much time. It's all good. Just go make some fucking courses. It's all good.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna record a podcast every day.
I'm gonna record 5 podcasts a day. I'm taking 5 fucking hours. Yeah, that didn't work. All right, so cool. Okay. Marketing funnels implement CRM tools to automate lead nurturing, follow up requirement. Okay, yep, that completely makes sense.
You got MailChimp doing that for you right now, don't you?
We got MailChimp, yep. So that's all good. Just got to build it out. Strategic partnerships. Okay, this is interesting because if you want to scale and you want to scale fast, partnerships are a great way to do it. So identify and collaborate with organizations that complement coach service, such as HR, tech firms, or educational institutions. I like this idea, and this is something that I haven't thought of. But like, if
you've thought of it, you just haven't fleshed it out.
Yeah, I'm sure it's in the back of my head somewhere, but it's not anything. Yeah, it's not anything that's gone through the rigors of my brain, which is a very scary place to live. But yeah, I mean, if you hook up with Bamboo HR or something like that, and you do some sort of content partnership with them, that could open up doors. That's interesting. I like that, actually. I like that idea. Not in a position to do it today, but certainly could be building towards it.
Down the road, yep.
Expands client base through shared networks and co-marketing efforts. That's why I like it. Who's the big HR firm we have here in the Twin Cities? I thought there was one. I can't think of it right now, but I'm like in my head. I can't remember what it is.
HR firm?
Yeah, we've got a big HR tech firm.
It's not Korn Ferry.
No, I can't remember who it is. They make software. They make HR software. Anyways, doesn't matter. The point I'm making is it could be any company. You go to them and you say, hey, look, I'm going to host a webinar. I'll host a webinar for you. I'll contribute to your blog. I'll be on your podcast. That generates leads.
Right.
And then you say, okay, your companies that are using your service, that are paying for your HR services, I'll offer them leadership development training for their younger staff members at a reduced rate. You know what I mean? Like, so many different ways you can do that.
You just got a glimpse into Bob's brain as it starts to circle like a little gerbil wheel going crazy.
Yeah. Oh, big time. And it's not just one gerbil. There's like 15 in there.
So in those next steps, how many are you already taking?
Well, these are kind of more begin outlining course topics. Haven't begun outlining them. It's just been a concept in my head. Let me just give a quick update. Well, the podcast thing took up some time this week.
No.
I know, right? The membership thing, I'm not abandoning it. I'm just not working on it right now. And primarily because what I realized after we had that recording, I realized I was putting together the structure for something I didn't actually have the materials built for yet, which is fine. And I acknowledged that when I was doing it. But I kind of have to like step back a little bit and make sure that the offerings are fully built up before I add them into a package kind of thing. So this kind of goes to that. Like in the membership, I talk about offering courses or whatever, videos on demand, but I actually have outlined what they are.
Right.
Like,
so that's a legit next step for you.
This goes back to last week's episode, which was like, hey, bro, you got to plan a little bit better. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, actually think about
horse kind of thing. Yep.
Yeah. Actually think about product development for a minute and like do that.
Okay, no, I'm with you.
Okay. Evaluate CRM platforms. Well, I picked MailChimp.
Yep.
And this should work out fine. Map out client journey. That I have not done yet. So I've selected my platform and I'm going to stick with it. I have not done the workflows yet. Research. I haven't done anything with the partner because that's a new idea as of like today.
Yep. There you go.
Okay. Very interesting.
Now, would you say that's $20,000 value? Because if it is, you should be charging that for your business consulting. Just give them the prompt.
Hmm.
Careful, you're a business coach.
Yeah, I know. It's just that is that worth $20,000? This is the age-old question of when you bring in this is why we always make fun of companies like Accenture and like Boston Consulting Group. It's like you bring in a group of consultants and they say, "Oh, well, you got to increase revenue and cut costs." Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Tell me something I didn't know. Thank you for charging me $250,000 to tell me something I already knew. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not pissing on this. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, would I have paid a consultant $20,000 to tell me this? Kind of already knew it. Well, I mean, I did, but I didn't. Right? I mean, I kind of knew it, but I think I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Here's what I know. It isn't worth $20,000, and it isn't worth hiring somebody to give you this information because you can put in a prompt in the ChatGPT and with your business right now, today, and get these answers.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is where, I mean, it actually mentions it in here, like using AI tools. Where was that? Was up here. Using AI tools or something. I can't remember where it was now. Oh, yeah, right here. Wait, no. I don't know where it is now. Oh, yeah, right here. Implement AI tools to personalize coaching experiences and streamline administrative tasks. Like, this prompt is a great start of something that I could recreate specifically around what I'm offering. And then, yeah, it would be like, think how great it would be to intake a bunch of client info and generate this automatically. Yeah. Like, yeah, for sure. If I charge $20,000 for it, I mean, maybe I could, I don't know. Like, but it certainly would be a great. Okay, so one of the ideas I'm chasing down right now is a business, kind of like, I know, like a business evaluation scorecard idea. I want to use it kind of as a lead magnet. Like, hey, fill in some information and I can tell you, like, score your business. This is in very early concept phase. So this is not anything that's actually met pen on paper. But like, I love that idea. And I saw it on another website and I was like, okay, I like that. Like, I see a spin on that. This is no different than taking questionnaire data and pushing it through an AI tool and coming up with a personal trait plan or a self-development plan or whatever. Is no different. Like, give me some key information about your business. Give me your revenues from the last 5 years. Give me your cost structure for the last 5 years. Give me your industry type. Give me your top 3 competitors. Give me blah, blah, blah. And then spit out something like this. Like, hey, here's some initial thoughts I have. And oh, by the way, I offer this, this, and this that will help you.
There you go.
Yeah. That's the key. That's why I want to use it as a lead magnet. Okay, the Gemini one's done.
How did it differ?
Well, let's take a quick peek at it. First of all, it did take a lot longer. It walked through step by step. It researched something like 41 websites or something like that.
Yeah, you should try the when you get your deep research upgrade or updated, you should try it again just to see if it's different versus 4.0. But what does this one look like?
So here it is up on the screen. Executive summary. That's fine.
Damn, that's a lot.
Okay, so here's the strategic actions that I should pursue immediately. Implement advanced automation and CRM for lead nurturing and client onboarding. That's what the last one said. Develop a digital twin AI coaching product or prioritize core frameworks into a scalable online course or app. A digital twin.
This transforms content from a lead generation tool into a direct revenue stream, enabling significant scalability beyond one-on-one delivery.
Launch a high-ticket outcome.
Please don't make another Bob Stange.
Yeah, the world does not need that. Hot damn. Launch a high-ticket outcome guaranteed strategic transformation partnership for SMBs. This
There you
directly
go.
addresses the need for truly premium offerings, significantly enhancing revenue per client and brand procedure. Okay.
So I'm sorry, they're talking automation, courses, and partnerships.
Yeah, it's yep, same thing as
Pretty
the other one.
consistent.
Yeah. Competitive landscape. Incrementa, never heard of them. That's interesting. Okay, that's a new one. Paradigm Associates.
Way more
Never,
insight on each competitor, too.
yeah, never heard of them. SME Strategy, never heard of them. KJS Consulting, never heard of them. Sorry. Level Up Coaching, never
I've
heard
heard
of
of
them.
them.
You have?
I think so, yeah.
Really?
I
Okay.
think so, yeah.
Okay.
Level Up. I've heard of Level Up, yeah.
I love some of the other insights. That you're right; they give a lot more competitive.
Way more.
Like this one, it actually says like coaching sessions are typically 50 minutes long. Pricing in here, what they call them. One's called the Launch Pad. One's called the Core Collective. I love this. Okay,
Yeah, that could be a great idea generator for you.
boy, don't sleep on Gemini.
Oh,
Don't
please.
sleep on Gemini.
Do your deep research. You'll be happy.
Their flagship offering, 90 days of results coaching, provides unlimited one-on-one coaching for 90 days. They charge $1,500 for that. Wow. Okay, this is cool.
Wow.
I like this. Other local competitors. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Bonify. Now they're based in Roseville. What?
Oh, interesting.
Bonify. Hey, bro, never heard of them.
Ruben Greenberg Coaching, New Hope, Pilstrom Consulting, Plymouth.
In Plymouth. Wow, that was cool. That's kind of
You should
neat.
be checking out the locals.
Hell yeah, especially Bonify. Check them out. They're like in my backyard.
Right?
All right. And they have a comparison table. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, that's kind of neat. I can even export that right to Sheets. See, that's cool.
Slick.
That's
Yeah.
actually really neat. That's the cool thing about Gemini. Okay, adjacent space disruptors. Coach Hub. That's interesting. It's an AI coach.
That's
Rocky.ai, another AI coaching app.
Yeah.
Digital Twin platform.
Interesting.
Okay, they charge $199 per month. Comparison table. Opportunity gaps. Content marketing and brand awareness.
Yep.
When comparing Bob's current approach to market benchmarks and comparative strategy, several gaps: content marketing and brand awareness, premium offerings and pricing, automation scalability, niche and differentiation. Well, I'm tackling that. I'm a 90s boy now.
90s, baby. 90s.
Community and peer learning. Okay, so here's the high impact growth and profitability levers, the digital twin thing. CRM and leaders. This is just regurgitating with more detail. Then another table. That's cool. Prioritize strategic recommendations. Scoring methodology.
Yeah. Let's see. They got a table in there. At least they defined the metrics for you. That's good.
Yeah, here it is. Yep. So it scored the highest was the CRM and lead nurturing for client onboarding. That's what it said was first. But close behind was the digital twin and the high ticket partnership thing. Oh, and the focus.
Yep.
And you can export that to Sheet. I love that. Okay, and then then it breaks down the things to do. Conclusion and next steps. You know what? I just realized I haven't been in Gemini in a while. And there's all the sources.
Yep.
Up here in the upper right, create. You can create a web page from this, an infographic, a quiz, and an audio overview. There's your Notebook LM integration with Gemini.
Yep.
That's cool. That's actually
Right.
really cool. I
Yep.
love the infographic thing. That's kind of neat. I kind of want to click that. I'm gonna click that.
How many infographics do you think it's going to spit out?
I don't know. Well, we'll let it work. And see what it says. So this was very cool.
Yep.
This was very cool. It was also very cool to run this live.
So I stole this prompt from a LinkedIn post from, and I'm going to butcher her name, Hamna Aslam Khan. She got a ton of followers on LinkedIn. She's got a huge newsletter that she sends out. It's on AI. So put a link into the post just to give her kudos.
Yep.
And then you can copy the prompt and try it for your biz.
It gave me code for a infographic.
Rich,
It didn't actually create the infographic, but it
maybe the
gave
HTML.
me the code for it. That's kind of interesting. Anyways, okay, cool. Wow,
So there you have it. That's what I wanted to show you.
that's really neat. That's really cool.
So hopefully it gives you something to chew on after you launch your initial podcast.
Yeah, I love that.
If you've made it this far, since we're another hour and 15 minutes into our video, because we like to go long,
We do.
leave a comment. Let us know how the prompt treats you and your business, and if you found it to be helpful, and definitely if you thought it was worth 20 grand, let us know why.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean,
Outside of that, True Identity, baby. New things coming.
Go visit True Identity.
Work's going to keep happening. Please feel free to visit the site. Say hello.
Keep building.
Yep. Keep building.
That should be our motto. Keep building.
Keep building. Yep.
Keep building. And check out my website and everything. But, more importantly, check out my new podcast.
I actually wrote down a couple of quotes from a Tony Robinson video that I watched. And I thought the most insightful thing he said was very simple. And it was a five-word sentence. He said, "Decision is the ultimate power."
Very true. That is true.
Yep. And everybody has it.
Wow. Well, I mean, I've got nothing after that. So I say we wrap her up. I got nothing after that. Have you ever seen the documentary on Netflix called "You Are Not My I'm Not Your Guru"?
Not yet, but I will be watching it.
Oh,
soon.
you should watch that. If you like Tony Robbins, you should watch that. It actually, I went back and forth on how I feel about him after watching that.
Yeah.
But a former colleague of ours was a big Tony Robbins fan. Actually went to several of his conferences, I believe.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Even one within the last year, I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I mean, I've listened to his podcast a long time ago. I haven't listened to it. I don't listen to his stuff anymore, but he's one of my chief competitors.
I'm a fan. Always have been.
Yeah, I think in general.
I think
you have to be okay with his approach. I mean, certainly, my mouth is sometimes a little dirty, but when you watch that documentary, I hope you don't mind swear words, because at his events, every other word.
Oh, he swears all the time.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know if he does it on his podcast anymore, but
it's a lot of it's bleeped out, but he still swears.
Yeah, you gotta, and so that bothers some people. That bothers them a lot, so they won't listen to it. But I mean, I don't mind. That doesn't bother me.
I think he's changing his tune a little bit these days, but it is what it is.
Yeah. No. Hey, he's living the dream.
Right.
Well, we think so.
All right, let's sign this bad boy off.
I would love it if people would subscribe. We've gained some subscribers. We've gotten some video views. We're growing. Keep building. We are growing this channel. It's so fun. So
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching us. We'll see you
Yeah.
next time.
subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Take care, Luke. Love you.
Bye, brother.